You are listening to the QSR Web Podcast. Are you a supplier or a brand working to elevate the customer experience? The Interactive Customer Experience Association connects brands, suppliers, agencies, and more who are working to create transcendent customer experiences. Let's work together to create a better customer experience ecosystem for us all. Join the ICX Association today at icxa.org.
Hello, and welcome back to the QSR Web Podcast. I'm QSR Web and Pizza Marketplace Editor Shelley Whitehead. Very happy to have you listening today because we have with us the CEO of a salad-centered QSR that started all the way back in the late 1980s before words like flexitarian and data analytics were part of the nomenclature. But today, Saladworks CEO Patrick Sugrue says both of those words are key to his brand success, which we will hear much more about in just a few seconds after this message.
The Interactive Customer Experience Association's mission is to connect B2C brands to technology that elevates the customer experience. Brands have access to resources, project help, news, and insights based around boosting their customer experience. Suppliers gain network opportunities to reach these brands and help them provide solutions to elevate their customer experience. Join today at icxa.org.
From international expansion and a new menu and store footprint to a partnership with Sodexo that will take its offerings into college campuses nationwide, Saladworks is, as they say, on fire as QSR brand of late. In fact, it's hard to believe this is actually a 30-year-old brand, even though it waited until the early 2000s to begin franchising. But franchising it is. And with me today is Saladworks President and CEO Patrick Sugrue. And welcome, Patrick.
Thank you so much, Shelley. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it. Please, can you tell us what the most recent store count for the brand is, along with its geographical reach at the moment?
So we're 100 stores in 17 states, 3 countries. We've got 2 Middle Eastern countries that we do business in, but we're heavily concentrated in the Northeast. About 70% of our stores are in Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey. Much of our growth is occurring outside of that core market.
Is that right? Well, I know a lot of the growth will probably soon be coming through the Sodexo College Food Partnership that we just announced, in the new menu and store footprint you've got that's less than a year old. And I wonder, what's the one thing among the many new initiatives that your brand has undertaken lately that you're most excited about, and why?
You know, I think that probably like my kids, it's hard to pick one that I love the most or am most excited about. We've got a growth plan that is, has multiple legs to the stool, and so I'm excited about a number of them. But to start off, I think the new channels of distribution for us, like the partnership with Sodexo, where we get opportunity to get access to young consumers. And what makes me excited about that is we've found in the colleges that we've opened over the last year that young students, demographically probably referred to as Gen Zs, are very interested in eating healthy, very interested in a more veg-centric diet. And while they do have their indulgent unnamed chicken brand that is very popular in college campuses, and pizza is obviously something that college students eat, they balance that with a frequency that is really impressive on eating salads and veggie-centric. And so we're doing particularly well in the college market, and Sodexo is going to be a great partner in that vertical. In addition, we're very excited about another channel we call store within a store. We have opened 3, going to be 4 and 5 in the next 60 days, stores in ShopRite supermarkets that are based here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And we're able to put a 150 square foot restaurant right in the middle of a ShopRite store right as you enter in, and get the full menu that you would get in a 2,000 square foot inline Saladworks store. You're able to get that right at the front of the ShopRite restaurant. And our numbers, the build out is obviously much lower, a fraction of what our normal build out is, and sales are anywhere from 60 to 90% of what our sales would be in an inline unit. So it gives us an opportunity to serve new guests in a very economical model, in a place that consumers surprisingly are looking for a meal solution, which is vegetable centric, and our salads fit that beautifully. I think if I had to do a third, it's another channel, and that is these third-party delivery mechanisms. If you're familiar with the Grubhubs and the Uber Eats and DoorDash,
oh yeah,
and Easy Cater, those are showing incredible growth. Those players have just recently been announcing public offerings. They're in major growth mode, and they bring guests to us that we don't typically do business with, that maybe not know about our brand, and it gives us an opportunity to connect with new consumers, in addition to the myriad of guests that come to our regular restaurants. And so I think we're doing wonderful things in our stores, as you mentioned, new branding, new remodels, new products in the stores, which we're very excited about. But we're, in addition to the growth that's occurring with new franchising in that traditional channel of franchise, 2,000 square foot restaurant in a shopping center, all these new channels are just adding multiple growth vehicles for us. And so, again, very excited about all of those.
Yeah, the one thing about going to the grocery, it always makes me hungry. So perhaps that helps. I don't know whether I'm always hungry for a salad, but you have other things.
Well, so much, if you think about how busy people are today, and they know that they've got to go grocery shopping, so they're going to pop in there at the end of their day, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and go do their fill-in shopping. But you know what? You're tired, to your point, you're hungry. You're not going to want to go home and wait to go prep and to cook and to clean on that day. And so, you walk into our store and there's 65 beautiful toppings that you can use to build a great salad and your meal solution for that day with no dishes. You buy that, you buy your fill-in groceries so that, the next day, what your meals are planned for the next day or two. It really is a really nice combination for guests. And so it fits.
Yeah, that's interesting. I also wonder how long ago did you begin developing your new menu, and how have those offerings been received with your target audience? Is what, young flexitarians?
It is. Lots of people eat salads, and cornerstone of our value proposition is choice and control. And with 65 items on our line, there's a salad for every guest and every diet philosophy. I was with a group of probably 125, 150 executives, and I was making a presentation, and it was a free opportunity to get some consumer research. So I said, how many of you out there, follow some type of dietary philosophy, Atkins to keto to any other of the many dietary philosophies we hear about? And about 70% of the room raised their hand. And then I asked, okay, of that 70%, how many of you have had, followed maybe more than one, dietary philosophy over the course of a year? Some people will come out of the first of the year and they'll go vegetarian or vegan. In the spring, they'll evolve their dietary philosophy. And I was surprised, probably 2/3 of the 2/3 said, more than one. So what we realize is that consumers are looking for, have different needs at different times of the year and at different life stages. And so the opportunity to configure a meal that meets your dietary philosophy at that very time is, we're well positioned to deliver on all of those with those 65 items. So part of what our communication has been is to highlight with a rotation of, on our website, we highlight all of them, but, in the store, we'll highlight, 1 month it's keto, it's another month we'll tell you, here's if you want to build an Atkins kind of salad, that's what you're following, or, here's, something that is within the points that you're trying to manage with with the Weight Watchers group. And so that's been a big part of our communication. So when you talk about what's new on our menu, choice and control has been there from the very beginning, and we have more options than any other restaurant chain, and give you more choice and more control. But what we have added, rice and other grains were a bit taboo for some period of time, and now increasingly people are recognizing the power of quinoa and brown rice and other grains. And so we've expanded into grain bowls, warm grain bowls, because our guests are looking for that kind of a hearty meal during the winter, something that's warm and, brings forward, a really satiated experience that is healthy for you. And it really fits well into our operational model, which is, we begin the process. We'll ask you grains or greens, and that'll be the base of your salad. And then we'll add whatever other toppings you want, dressings if you want on the side or mixed in. And so I think grain bowls have been a really nice addition and a meaningful lift in our store sales. In addition, we're working on toast. I don't know if you've had avocado toast on a delicious multi-grain bread that's toasted. And we've done some experimentation about whether or not it's an entree. We're probably gravitating toward it being an added purchase, smaller portion, but an added purchase for some variety for a meal. And then probably the last category that we've done some real innovation around is what we call aguas frescas, which are freshly made beverages made every day in store with all kinds of fruits, from lemons and limes and watermelon, and naturally sweetened and, served from a bubbler to augment our carbonated soft drinks and our flavored waters that we offer to our guests. So that's probably the innovation we've seen on the menu, and we're getting great response from our guests.
Beverages really do draw in an increasing number. I'm one of those people, by the way, who will go to a place because of the beverage offerings. So is that kind of what you're finding? That a lot of customers will, it's a pivotal thing in their restaurant choice? Or
I think that, I spent a good chunk of my career at a well-known beverage company in Atlanta, Georgia, and carbonated soft drinks put my kids, through school are near and dear to my heart. But increasingly, consumers are moving away from traditional carbonated soft drinks into, flavored seltzers and natural beverages. That being said, Diet Coke still has a very strong following with our guests, but there are consumers who are looking for something, that is not a carbonated soft drink and may not be sweetened, with an artificial sweetener. So we have to be innovative. We've got to stay current with trends. Our flavored teas are doing very well. Teas are have a great interest. My wife is like what you articulated. I mean, if they don't have a good unsweet iced tea, she's not going to go to that restaurant. So, just to make sure that she'll shop at Saladworks, we've evolved our tea program to have a delicious fresh brewed iced tea that is as good as any restaurant out there.
Helps to know somebody at the top, doesn't it? What does the Sodexo, this newly announced partnership, what does it mean as far as the number of universities that'll carry Saladworks? items, and how do you think that's going to help the brand in the future?
Sodexo is such a quality company, and again, you are the company you keep. And Sodexo, recognizing that their college students were looking for healthier alternatives, they canvassed dozens, if not hundreds, of restaurant concepts to offer in that healthy category, healthy veg-centric category, and they selected us. So we're honored by their selection. I think it says a lot to our franchisees. I think it says a lot to a guest that's a college consumer that, hey, they know that Sodexo is a quality food service company, and they wouldn't bring in a brand that didn't have a real focus on food safety, on traceability of their food, of delicious, high quality, great service. And so I think, right off the bat, it's just a really nice validation of all the things that we've been doing to evolve this brand to be increasingly relevant to today's guests. But I think the other thing it does, it's no surprise why GM and a number of the automakers offer nice discounts to college consumers upon graduation, because they know that early alignment with a given brand can, in the case of automobiles, that first car, if you become a Chevy or a Ford person, that pattern can last a long, long time. And we feel very much the same way. If you see our brand and build a relationship with the Saladworks brand while you're in university, coming out, and you see a Saladworks on your way to your new job, it's going to be a place that you're comfortable with, that you're excited to try, and that you're going to be able to tell your friends about. And so it really helps us with these college students as they go back home or go to where they're going to work, and to be able to think about and advocate for Saladworks in the markets that we're expanding in.
It seems like analytics and really database decision making is a big factor for Saladworks. Am I picking up on that correctly? If I am, can you give me some examples of data findings that have resulted in brand initiatives or changes?
Well, first off, we have something called the Saladworks 7. It's our core values. And, food safety is job one, is number one on that list. But number two is we make decisions leveraging facts and insights. And the reason for that is there is so much changing in the world in terms of technology and different data collecting capabilities that we have through our own direct POS, through our loyalty programs, through third-party data collection, that the real challenge is how do you convert those into insights? And I've been harping on my CFO and our head of IT that I am awash in data. What I'm really thirsting for is insights, and we're doing better at that. And so we're really pursuing ways to cut the data through SQL servers and other advanced data management tools to be able to come up with insights that will help us make good decisions. One of those things is within our loyalty program, we recognize that the fact that a number of our loyalty members, our percentage of loyalty participants, we get great demographic data on them. And it tells us, what kind of things they're interested in. And so, believe it or not, a number of people who, when they talk about what their interests are, it helps us message. So, for example, we had a new marketing manager do a deep dive into some of the Facebook postings and feedback of our guests, what they like to talk about, what they communicate about. Animals, dogs, cats, are probably at the top of the list, but guinea pigs and rabbits or anything else, they have a real love for their pets. And it spoke to us about how we can theme some of our communications that'll resonate with those guests. It tells us other retail establishments we can communicate through there and in and around. And frankly, it can also give us insights in terms of where we should place our restaurants. So, having a large we typically make sense to go near a large gym like an LA Fitness, but hey, if there's a PetSmart that's on the same pad that we're considering developing, that might be a pretty good indication that could help predict a successful location. So that's one small one, but every day we're using those insights to make decisions. And frankly, I can tell you that we make hundreds of decisions a day. I mean, business is a choice factory. And in so making those decisions, you're likely to make decisions that don't work, when you're making hundreds a day. And the ones I get to make as CEO are never 70% probability. They're more in the 55, 45. And so inevitably, you're going to make mistakes. If you make those mistakes with data that supports your, the choice that you made, then you're able to go back and say, hey, which did we rely on too heavily in this decision? What was the insight that was more predictive of the outcome? And it'll improve our decision making if we are committed to continuously improving our decision making by leveraging facts and insights.
That's interesting. It's really fascinating that you have such animal lovers, within your guest pool. It's fun to think about that, and I'll be expecting a cat cafe from Saladworks very soon. So
we'll have to do that for sure.
Finally, I guess one last question, and this is kind of playing unfair on my part. It's putting you on the spot and asking you, can you tell us one previously unannounced initiative in the coming year for Saladworks that you're particularly excited about? And if you can't tell us what it is, maybe you can give us some hints.
I'll probably, like the very first question, I'll probably break the rules and give you maybe two. So, first is the use of Apple Pay. Apple Pay is a remarkably convenient and easy to use technology, yet the adoption rate is very low. And so we are going to promote using Apple Pay because whenever we can make it more convenient for our guests to transact with us and take time out of the overall transaction, that means we can get more guests through. So we're going to promote aggressively the use of Apple Pay as a methodology. And so I'm very excited about that. That'll be coming up in the summer. And then the second one, and this is consistent with, my answer to the first question about things I'm excited about and expanding into new channels. We're going to be, for the first time in our history, selling Saladworks gift cards in alternative channels and alternative retail. So you'll see our Saladworks gift cards that you'll be able to buy in dozens initially chains that sell gift cards. And that will expose our brand to guests that may not have used us in the past. And they'll see the gift card and they'll give it a try, or they will be given the gift card and give us a try. So we think there's going to be a great deal of trial through that program of selling our gift cards through other retail establishments. That's
a great idea. And there are occasions throughout the year, so I'll keep an eye out for those. I really appreciate you stopping by today and giving us kind of some of the latest on Saladworks. It's an interesting brand and it likes animals. So what can be wrong with that?
Well, thank you so much. It was we're honored that you would spend time with us and learn a little bit about our brand. We feel like there's real nobility in making healthy food available to people, and so it's really mission driven for us to expand our footprint and to give guests the opportunity to eat healthier. And so by you and your coverage and your interest, it helps us achieve that. So thank you so much.